Good afternoon, everyone. This is Misti-Dawn with the Manamal Streaming Radio, and I'm here with Andy Henson, vocalist and guitarist from the band Last Night's Villain. Thanks so much for taking the time for this interview today, Andy. How you doing?
Doing great, Misty. Thank you for doing this. This is awesome.
Well, thank you for coming back. We did, for people not knowing, we tried this one other time, and it was technical difficulty, so we're going to do this all over again. Now, first, I love the band's name, and I think I said that to you before. Was there a certain thing that led you to choose that name?
Yeah, it's a little story to it. My ex and I, we get along fine. We had an amicable split, probably five years ago or so. And even though we got along fine, some of her friends were treating me like a bad guy or like a villain. So the name just kind of popped in my head. And also I looked it up, and the main thing about the name is it didn't exist. It's so hard to find a cool band name that's not already taken. So we talked to the guys, and we're like, yeah, that's great. And then it has other meanings too. Last Night's Villain could be, someone who might go out and drink a little bit too much, whatever your drink of choice was the night before, that was Last Night's Villain that made you feel so bad today. So
Right.
There's a couple of meanings to it.
I love it. I think it's great, and it's something that catches your attention, so that's always good.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. That was the main goal.
Now, who are some of your musical influences, like throughout the band?
We all like pretty much the same thing. Sean, our drummer, goes to the most extreme. He used to be in a death metal band, so he listens to everything. He will be singing a Poison song, and then he'll start going into some obituary song that he loves. So he's more of the death metal guy, but he likes everything as well. We like everything, but mainly, I guess we all love Queensryche. Oh my gosh, it's such a vast amount of bands. I mean, I always go back. The best comparison we had from a fan recently was you guys sound like Metallica and Godsmack meets Queensryche and Dokken. And that was really cool to us because we love all of those bands.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we like to have the big, the killer riffs and big catchy choruses and hooks of the old school hard rock and metal, along with the more modern sound because we tune a little bit lower, and that gives us a more modern edge to it. But we like pretty much everything. I mean, honestly, I know that might sound cliche, but gosh, we'll jam if we're jamming on something just for fun. We'll jam like Rat, and then we can jam Slayer. We like Lamb of God. All the old and new hard rock and metal, pretty much.
That's awesome. And you can hear nuances of different people in your music. So with the person that told you those other bands that you have a sound like, I can see that definitely.
Cool.
Now, you guys have only been a band for less than a year. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, was it instant chemistry when each new member came on board, or did you have to feel each other out a little bit, or?
Well, I mean, we've all known each other. I mean, it's kind of a long story, but I can get to the point. When we started, you just interviewed Chris, our friend from Babylon Shakes last week.
Yes.
Well, Gary and Morty used to be in Last Night's Villain, but when we started about 2 years ago, we were more of a cover band, just kind of gelling and trying to see how it was going to go. And we played a few shows, but it was mainly covers, and they just wanted to go more of an 80s sound than we did. Like, we like to mix the 80s with the more modern sound. So they left and started Babylon Shakes. And we got Chris Burrell on bass and Sean Mayhew on drums. We've known those guys for years, just through different bands and, just local musical connections. And it was like, as soon as we got those guys in the band, it was just magic. We just started writing more songs, went in the studio, started playing shows. I think their first big show with us, we opened up for Kicks. It was either Kicks or Blue Ridge Rock. I can't remember, but it was one of those two big shows last fall. So it was
amazing.
As soon as we got them, we started just rolling, just writing songs and just getting things going. We all get along. We have a blast at rehearsal. We have a blast when we're on stage, hanging out. We just have so much fun. Everybody's professional. We're all driven. So it didn't take long at all. That's why we've done so well in such a short period of time.
So speaking of the songwriting, it's very much a group effort?
Yeah, well, I write most of the songs, but I will give them to the guys, and they're like, hey, you guys, what do you think about this? Basically, I'll be at home, and I'll record something on my phone, and, send it to the guys on Dropbox, and then we'll get to rehearsal, and, we'll just go from there. Wayne, he wrote some of the riffs for a couple of the songs. Gary's written some lyrics. I write most of the music, but, the guys, if they have ideas, we all throw them in there and put it all together. And whether one person writes it or not, it becomes a group effort. No one's going to be like, no, it's got to be this way. We just jam it, record it. We'll record it on our cell phones, listen to it, take out, things we don't like, and make it to where we all agree on it.
That's great. And I think that's important a lot of times. When you have a sole songwriter, then nobody else can, there are some, because I've interviewed some, where it's just like I strictly do the songwriting, and it's like you would think whenever you send it to somebody, send it off to one of your bandmates, and they're listening to it, they're allowed to put their creative input into it as well. So it's a very well-rounded for your band, and I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, exactly. Keeps everybody happy, and we all have fun, and plus, if I hear somebody else, they have a killer idea, I'm like, yeah, let's do that. That's awesome. Not going to be like, no, it's going to be the way I did it. Oh, that's kind of lame. I don't really understand people who do that stuff.
Now, I'm taking the band motto. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That is really awesome. Is that something you guys come up with, or was that from a movie? Or
it's from a movie, and I am a huge Batman fan, and it's from the last trilogy of Batman movies that came out. And it was Harvey Dent, Two-Face, that says it in the movie. So you have to go back and watch that one.
I'm gonna have to. I'm definitely not a superhero girl, but I will just to see that or just to hear that.
Yeah, I love anything with Batman. I mean, even my amp on stage, I've taken off the faceplate of the amp, and I have a black and silver Batman sticker on my amp.
Awesome. Now, how many shows do you guys have under your belt now, roughly?
Oh, gosh. We usually play once or twice a month. Let me see. Since last September, we've opened up for Kicks. We played the Blue Ridge Rock Festival that had Scott Stapp, the former singer from Creed.
Nice.
Let me see. Saliva was there. Head PE, Orgy. I mean, that was a ton of bands. That was a 2-day festival. That was awesome. Let's see. We've opened up for Pop Evil and Silver Tongue, Puddle of Mud, Shaman's Harvest, and Otherwise. And this past weekend, we just opened up for Jeff Tate, the former lead singer of Queensryche, and that was just amazing. It was Jeff Tate's Operation Mindcrime. That's the name of his new band, and they did the entire Operation Mindcrime album, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, that was going to be a question later too. I can't wait to get into that.
Yeah, Jeff's daughter Emily has a band called Till Death Do Us Part. They played as well, and they are also Jeff's band, which is really cool. They play their set, take a little break, and then they come out and do the whole Operation Mindcrime. But they were so cool to hang out with, and it was just an unreal night. It was amazing. Their stage manager said that we were the best support band they've had on this entire tour, and the guys and the band said the same thing. And at the end of the night, Jeff came and hung out with us and took pictures, and that was really cool. And when he was going to the bus, the guys in the band and the stage manager again were like, man, Jeff never talks to the support bands because he usually doesn't think highly of them. And he came out and hung out with you guys. So it was just an unreal night. It was amazing. We have pictures on our Facebook page of us with Jeff Tate. It was because Queensryche is like one of my all-time favorite bands. And that Operation Mindcrime album just influenced me greatly, vocally, guitar, writing-wise. So it was just unreal. I keep saying that.
No, it's true, and he's got such a like, what's the word I want? His voice is just exceptional. It's not what you hear anybody else sounding like.
Yeah.
So I agree. But that's way to go for you guys. That's awesome. Maybe that'll lead up to some more shows with him. Boy, I hope so for you.
You never know. Yeah. We've got a lot of shows coming up, too. Some of them we can't talk about yet. But
Great.
We have quite a few things. We're booked up through October right now. So, and constantly adding more. So it's really cool.
Nice. Proud of you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now, before we get into the new song, I want to go back to Midnight Calls and Wasted. I really love these songs. And how have they been received during the shows? Are you getting lots of, screams and stuff? Because I do whenever I listen to them.
Oh, well, we appreciate that. Yeah, all of our songs, it's really cool because, things are different now. We're getting ready to get CDs printed because we kind of went backwards. All of our stuff is on all the streaming services like iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, everything else. So we've got the links on our page, and whenever we play a show, we put the links up so people know the songs and they're singing along with them. And it's also really cool. Midnight Calls and our song Myself are in active rotation on 97 Underground out of Baltimore. They were the first channel to give us a shot. And because of that, we've gotten on so many other stations, like you guys, the Manamal. We're on stations all over the world, and it's just crazy. Because one thing about 97 Underground, they used to be, I guess you call it a terrestrial radio station back in the 80s, hard rock metal, and then they changed and went to internet-based only. But they're still one of the top stations in America supporting hard rock and metal. And when you get on there, it says a lot. So it was really cool. So big shout out to Mike Brohart. He's the owner. I thank him for putting us on there because that's opened up a lot of doors for us. But because of that, and because of all the streaming, we're getting people, they sing along with our songs. So it's just amazing to be on all these cool radio stations, getting interviewed by people like you.
Thank you.
It's just great. It's amazing.
Well, we really like you guys, the station, and we've kind of got a really good relationship going with you guys, which is great. And as I said the last time we talked, if there's ever anything you need us to do, don't hesitate to get a hold of us, and we will do whatever it is that you need. So
yeah, absolutely, we appreciate that.
You're welcome. So just last week, you dropped a video for your song "The Poison." I absolutely love this song. Can you explain the song and the concept of the video for our listeners?
I can explain the song. I can't really explain the concept of the video.
Oh, okay.
Well, the song, basically, when I write, I like to do a couple of different sides to the story, so each person can, make the song what they want it. But essentially, the poison is maybe you've had one or two or three long relationships, and they all ended. And after a while, you think, wow, it must be me. I'm the poison. I'm the reason these relationships don't work. So you meet somebody new, and you're starting to fall for the person, but then you start getting these negative feelings start creeping up inside. You're like, well, my last relationship ended really badly, so this person should stay away from me because I'm the poison. Yeah, it's just that little voice in your head. So, that's the basic meaning of it. Now, as far as the video, that's our director, Mr. Chris Townsend. You can follow him on Instagram at Knifeakid, Nyfakid, Knifeakid. That's New York Film Academy kid. The video is all his vision. He's got a couple in the video who are arguing and fighting, and they're just bad for each other, but they stay together. And then there's some different imagery in there dealing with toxic relationships and some other stuff that we don't really understand, but it's cool. There's people like there's a girl we know licking a pole there, and a guy with a crazy looking mask on, and a girl stabbing a voodoo doll, and all kinds of stuff. Honestly, we don't know. That's all Chris's idea. When we saw the video, we were like, okay, cool. We showed up and did our parts. We weren't there when he filmed all those. So yeah,
Gotcha.
That's pretty interesting. But the video is doing really well. We've been sharing it all over the place. So, and that's actually been added to a few different video shows. There's a radio station called Rock Rage Radio, and they have a video show as well. And they just added it this past week. So that's very cool.
Now, a little earlier, you were saying about releasing a CD. Do you have a name for the CD yet, or is that still in the works?
We've got to decide. The CD is going to be the 7 songs that we have on all the streaming services right now.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, just to have the CD out at our concert. Because when we play, we always announce, go on Spotify, go on Apple Music, and stream us. But there's still those diehards that want a CD. I mean, I'm the same way. I'm a little bit older, so I like CDs as well. I like having something I can hold in my hand and read the liner notes and all that stuff. So we'll be getting CDs made within the next week or so.
Oh,
Having our next show coming up. So, awesome. And we're not sure of a name yet. We really don't. We haven't thought about that. We might call it The Poison, or I don't know. Who knows? We might think of something ingenious. You know?
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Now, we come from an era where MTV actually played videos to help promote bands and their music. And unfortunately, as you know, that's not what it does anymore.
Yeah.
How hard is it to promote music these days? And what ways, other than social media, do you do that?
Well, I mean, there's pros and cons. The music industry is totally different. I've been doing this a long time. It's like, and we're actually talking to a couple of different labels now and management groups, but labels really, it's not like years ago we're like, yeah, I got a record deal. Essentially now a record deal is pretty much a distribution deal, and they help you with marketing and things like that. But it's really, it's not like it used to be where, oh, we're going to give you whatever, $500,000 for you to record an album. That's not how it is anymore. But,
right.
But on the positive with that, because of the internet, you know, you can advertise your music. You can do whatever you want, pretty much. It's like the Wild West. You can, you know, anything what you can think of. You know, you've got your website, you've got all the streaming services, and really, I mean, you said besides social media. I mean, social media is huge for advertising the music, but you know, just other people and you know the venues we play at. Which sometimes that's hard because there are promoters out there who kick butt and they advertise the shows and do a great job. And then there's some clubs and promoters, you don't even understand why. Like they book you and they pay you, but they don't even advertise the show. You get there and there might be one flyer up and it's like, well, what are you doing? But you know, the options are so, you know, limitless out there because of the web. But the internet, you know, it hurt music, but it just depends on how bad you want it, how hard you want to get out there and advertise. But it's a whole different ballgame than it used to be.
Right. A lot of interaction has to be with, you know, the bands themselves and stuff like that. You got to scratch each other's backs. And that's good because, I mean, it's people helping people. And that's what we all need. So we're going to continue to help and you're going to continue to support. And that's a great relationship. And we're really happy with that relationship with you guys.
Well, yeah, exactly. With bands, you know, the bands have got to support each other. I know. I mean, there's still a few like, you know, we don't care to support our band. We don't care about anybody else. If you're on a show with other bands, that show needs to be advertised to really like, you know, focus on all the bands playing, not just we're the headliner. Don't worry about the other bands, or you know, because people are coming to a show. It's hard to get people to come out anyway with so many options. And, you know, a lot of people would rather just sit home and look at their smartphone than go to a show. So you got to make those shows. You know, make every band, you know, equal out there. Like, hey, come on out. This, you know, showtime starts at 8. Be there for the first band. You know, support each other. That's how we all, you know, keep this thing going.
Yep, keep rock alive. That's what we're trying to do, you know?
Yeah.
Now, do you ever get nervous before a performance? And if you do, how do you combat that?
No, I don't get nervous. I mean, I've been doing martial arts since I was a little kid, so that helps me with that. And I'm a martial arts instructor. I teach Hawaiian Kempo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I don't really get nervous. The only thing I think about, I don't think any other guys get nervous either. We've all been doing this so long. The main thing we, you know, mildly worry about is whether, you know, we all have really nice gear, but there's always a chance that your gear can go bad while you're playing. Like your amp, you might blow a tube, you might break a string, you might crack a cymbal.
Right.
So that's really it. I mean, as far as I know, none of the rest of the guys get nervous, and we get excited, and we just have fun. You
that's
know,
what it's all about.
We love doing it, so I don't really see any need to be nervous if you're doing something you love.
Do you remember the first album you ever bought?
Oh, good grief. When I was a little, I'll be definitely stating my age now, but when I was a little kid, you know, records, I never really bought albums. My mom and dad would buy me 45 RPM records. So I bought a lot of singles. But I didn't start buying albums until I was, you know, like at least like 10 years old. It was probably like, I know my first concert was Hall & Oates on the Private Eyes tour.
Nice.
So you can see how old I am. But I think that was actually probably the first album. I mean, when I was a little kid, I loved Kiss, Van Halen, thanks to Kiss and Van Halen, as I got into my teenage years, I got into even harder, heavier stuff. So
you're aging me too, so I remember all of that.
One of those, probably Hall & Oates. That was the first concert that I ever saw. So I do remember having that album, because I don't know if you remember this. They used to have those record clubs, Columbia Record Club, where you know, if you sign up, you have to buy like so many albums in a year, but you get like 10 albums for like a penny or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm getting 45s, and my dad would play them on stereo for me. That was really cool.
That's awesome. Now, how do you juggle your personal life with your musician life?
It's tough sometimes. I mean, it's not all that hard, because we're not touring. I mean, we keep joking, we want to be the ultimate weekend warriors, like, you know, play shows on the weekend, because we've all got careers. We could do some kind of small tour, but we can't be going out here for like, you know, 6 to 8 weeks on some kind of tour. We just can't do it. You know, I teach martial arts during the week, and everybody else has something going on. It's tough sometimes, because I mean, we rehearse, you know, once or twice a week, and doing this takes a lot of work. I mean, unfortunately right now, I do most of the booking and management type stuff for the band, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But, you know, it looks like I'm on my cell phone all the time messing around, but I'm actually talking to promoters or, you know, radio stations or things like that, or, you know, other bands and setting stuff up. But you got to make time. It's best to try to involve your family. Like, we try to involve our wives with it. They help out with the merch, working the merch table, come to the shows, you know, things like that. So it's hard, because, you know, it takes away time from your family, but it's really no different than a job. People look at music a little bit differently, or if you're an artist of any sort, most people don't look at it as something legitimate. Like, if you have a job, and that job makes you work 60 to 70 hours a week, that's acceptable. But if you are an artist of any sort, and, you know, your art is taking up a lot of your time, people think you're just messing around. It's some kind of hobby.
Right.
But it's not. You know, we're professional musicians, and it's fun. It's super fun, but it is a job, and it's a lot of hard work.
I agree. What advice would you give to someone who would like to embark on a music career?
Let's see. Learn your craft well. Practice. Whatever instrument you want to play, you know, practice. Don't half-ass. You know, learn it. You know, do your scales. If you're a singer, do your vocal scales. Practice. Play along with all kinds of different styles of music. You know, listen to your influences, learn from them, make it your own. You know, like I said, just practice. Be proficient at your instrument. Be humble. Be kind to other people, other musicians. Be confident, because if you are not confident on stage, people can see that right away. Right. They're not going to want to support you, and if they're mean, if they're jackasses out in the crowd, they will eat you alive. Don't let them. And be professional. There are so many bands that I know that do the stupidest things on stage and off, and then they get mad because promoters don't want to book them. You know, be professional. It's not that hard. So.
Very good advice. Very good. Now, is there anything else that you would like our listeners and your fans to know that we might not have covered in today's interview?
Don't think so. I mean, we've got all of our social media. You can look at all of our pages. We've got Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LNV Official. We still haven't gotten a website yet. We've got the lnvofficial.com domain name, but when you click on that, it will actually take you to our Facebook page for right now. So we'll be having a website pretty soon. We just haven't decided what company to use, or if one is even necessary, because between the Facebook and the Instagram and YouTube, we're pretty much covered. All of our music is on all the streaming services. If you're on Apple Music, Spotify, just look up LNV, Last Night's Fill-In. Got a bunch of shows coming up. I mean, we've got all that on our Facebook page. Some of them I can't even say right now, but we've got some shows coming up with our friends in Babylon Shakes. We actually have 2 shows with them. We've got a show in July in Lynchburg. It's going to be LNV, Babylon Shakes, and Brain Cell. They're like a thrash band. That's going to be a hard rock music showcase put on by Lynchburg Concerts. And then we've got some more opening shows with national acts. And then in September, we're going to be playing up in Maryland with, again, Babylon Shakes, Streetlight Circus, and about 3 or 4 other bands. That's going to be a killer show. And we just, this is killing me. I can't say. We've got a lot of awesome shows coming up where we're opening up for national acts, but I cannot say them yet.
Well, hopefully you get up to Pennsylvania one of these days.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, if you can recommend us to some clubs or give me those club names and I will contact them. Yeah.
Will do. Definitely will do. Well, Andy, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me today. As I said earlier, we really do enjoy your music and we look forward to what's coming next for you guys. For our listeners, don't forget to check out Last Night Villains. Their band is amazing. They have some great tunes. Go out and see a show. You can get a CD, or as he said earlier, you can get tunes on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, Deezer, and Spotify. This is Misty with the Manamal Streaming Radio. Have a great day.